Okay, and last but not least, the last page of your review sheet are some Regents questions. So this one says Brian's hockey team is purchasing jerseys. The company charges $250 for a one-time setup fee. So we're going to highlight that. And $23 for each printed jersey. So we're going to highlight that. Which expression represents the total cost of the X number of jerseys for each team? So this company charges $250 for a one-time setup fee. That number is going to be by itself. So the answer is choice 3. There's your $250 one-time setup fee. Oops, I should put that in blue. $250 one-time setup fee, and then $23 for each printed jersey. And if X is the number of jerseys, it would be 23 times X. Number 2. They give you a lot of information here that you do not need. So it says Connor wants to burn 250 calories while exercising for 45 minutes at the gym. On the treadmill, he can burn 6 calories a minute. On the stationary bike, he can burn 5 calories a minute. If T represents the number of minutes on the treadmill and B represents the number of minutes on the stationary bike, which expression represents the number of calories that Connor can burn on the stationary bike? So they give you all this information about the time at the gym, but they only want to know how many calories can he burn on the stationary bike. So here's our information for that. On the stationary bike, he can burn 5 calories per minute. So they also tell you that B represents the number of minutes on the stationary bike. So if he's burning 5 calories a minute and B is the number of minutes he's on the bike, the calories that he can burn on the stationary bike are represented by 5B. So they gave you a lot of information that you did not need for that problem. Number 3 says, when solving for p squared plus 5 equals 8p minus 7, Kate wrote p squared plus 12 equals 8p. So what she did was she added the 7 to the 5 and got 12. So the property that she used is choice 4, addition property of equality. Number 4 says a company manufactures radios, first pays a startup cost, and then spends a certain amount of money to manufacture each radio. If the cost of manufacturing our radios is given by this function right here, what does the value 5.25 best represent? So if they pay a startup cost, that's a cost that's not changing, which would be represented by this plus 125 right here. Then they spend a certain amount of money to manufacture each radio. That would be this right here. 5.25 times the number of radios that they are making. So they want to know what 5.25 represents. R is the number of radios. If it's 5.25 times R, that's going to be choice 3, the amount of money spent to manufacture each radio. Number 5, the owner of a small computer repair business has one employee who's paid at a rate of $22 per hour. The owner estimates that his weekly profit using this function, P of X equals 8,600 minus 22X. In this function, what does X represent? So if we have a worker who is paid hourly rate of 22, that means 22 per hour. And we see in the equation here minus 22x. X must be the number of hours that they are working. So X represents the number of hours that employee worked per week. Number 6, a plumber has a set fee for a house call and charges by the hour for repairs. Total cost of her services can be modeled by this function. So she has a set fee. Remember, that is the one without a variable. So $95 every time, plus the number of hours for repairs. So which statement is true about this function? The house call costs $95. So remember, it says a plumber has a set fee for a house call and then charges by the hour for repairs. So that is true. The plumber charges $125 per hour it says T times 125. We can assume that T is time, which is true. They charge 125 per hour. The number of hours the job takes is represented by T. That is also true. So the answer would be choice 4, that it's 1, 2, and 3.